I contemplated many stories of demonic possession for this video, which in itself is another form of mind control. A few of the stories are well documented, but among the many accounts of hauntings and demonic possessions throughout history, none is more compelling and has more credible witnesses than the one that I'm about to describe, and that's the exorcism of LaToya Ammons. What's amazing about this story of demonic possession is that not only does it have many credible witnesses whose accounts of the incidents have remained consistent throughout the years, but most of the people who were involved are still alive today and still say the same things about it. As you guys will see, there's a lot of information here, so it's going to take more than one video for me to cover. Now, I'm not going to get into too many of the details of this account because they can easily be looked up on YouTube and Google. This story is very well documented, and it made international news when it first surfaced in 2012. Instead, I'm going to use some specific incidents to show how these events relate to covert harassment, especially satanic gang stalking, or what I call occult harassment. In a nutshell, in November of 2011, Miss LaToya Ammons moved into 3869 Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana, along with her mother and 3 children. What followed was an unprecedented demonic attack, as their new dwelling place was found to be the home of over 200 demons and contained within it a satanic portal. Before I get into what happened, I want to give the names and titles of just a few of the witnesses. We have 23-year veteran Chief of Police Brian Miller, a DCS case manager by the name of Valerie Washington, an RN named Willie Lee Walker, Police Captain Charles Austin of the Gary, Indiana Police Department, along with several police officers. And we have Lieutenant John Gruska of the Lake County Police Department of Indiana. Now to highlight some of the elements of mind control in this account of demonic possession. Due to the many paranormal disturbances, Gary police were frequently at the Ammons home. One night, while questioning the family, police stated that they saw LaToya's youngest son grinning and chuckling with an evil look on his face. Okay, nothing unusual because little kids do weird things sometimes. But along with the grinning and chuckling, police stated that they witnessed the boy being lifted and thrown against the wall, with no one touching him. Not only was the dark entity able to cause the boy to grin and chuckle, which demonstrates some level of mind control, but it was also able to throw him against the wall. In one of the most astonishing displays of demonic possession ever, case manager Valerie Washington stated that she witnessed LaToya's 9-year-old son walk up a wall backwards to the ceiling, then flipped over his grandmother's head and landed on both his feet. This was also witnessed by a psych counselor, an RN named Willie Lee Walker, and Rosa, the boy's grandmother, who was holding his hands at the time. It's important to note that this incident is officially documented in an Indiana DCS report. LaToya realized that she and her 3 children were in fact possessed by demons. She said that they would develop evil smiles on their faces. Their voices would change drastically, and they would also chant in a strange language that she's never heard, all at the same time. This demonstrates the ability of the demons to possess multiple people simultaneously in order to get them to act and say the same things, just like they do in satanic gang stalking. As an important side note, initially, many people who don't understand spiritual attacks didn't believe LaToya. They thought that she was delusional and that she was suffering from some type of mental breakdown. People felt that LaToya had mental issues and that her kids were performing for her. But after several psychological evaluations, Ammons and her 3 children were found to be of sound mind, and it states that in the reports. Another amazing incident that took place at the Ammons home was one night while they had family over, LaToya's 12-year-old daughter was found levitating above her bed. LaToya quickly asked her family to gather around her. They all knelt down beside her bed and started to pray for her. Then the girl slowly drifted back down. After which, LaToya's daughter, upon waking up, was not aware that anything unusual had taken place. Many extended family witnessed this incident and later refused to return to the Ammons home. Now, for those of you who don't believe that levitation is possible, here are some names of some people who were said to have levitated throughout history. We have Saint Joseph of Cupertino, Saint Francis of Assisi, Alphonsus Liguori, Saint Gerard Mahalia, and even the Buddha of Enlightenment were all said to have witnessed accounts of levitation. Remember what I said earlier about LaToya's son climbing up that wall? Well, check out this short clip of Miss Valerie Washington, a DCS case manager who witnessed the incident, and listen to what she says about it.
DCS family case manager Valerie Washington was assigned to the investigation. The official DCS report states that later that evening, the 9-year-old walked up the wall backwards while holding the grandmother's hand, and he never let go. He flipped over and landed on his feet in front of the grandmother and sat down in the chair. On her report it says, "I affirm, under the penalties for perjury, that the foregoing representations are true. The penalty for perjury is jail time, so this speaks to the authenticity of this occurrence." Years later, her account is consistent.
When he did walk up the wall before my eyes, he could not remember doing it 5 minutes afterwards. We had no words to explain it because we didn't understand it either. I worked as a child fatality worker. I investigated children dying. I've seen children in various situations burned, beaten, but after that it was just, it was traumatic.
Okay, so this is the third and final method of mind control in my Magitech series of videos. My first Magitech video spoke about a chemical method. My second Magitech video spoke about a technological method. And this Magitech video speaks about a satanic spiritual method. But all three in the wrong hands can have dire consequences for a target.